Parts of the human digestive system. The parts of the human digestive system include 1. Mouth. 2. Salivary glands. 3. Pharynx. 4. Esophagus. 5. Stomach. 6. Small intestine including the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. 7. Large intestine including the cecum, colon, rectum, and anal canal. 8. Liver. 9. Gallbladder. 10. Pancreas. Fifth digestive system of a human being. Alimentary canal. The alimentary canal refers to the long, muscular tube that extends from the mouth to the anus and includes the organs through which food passes during the process of digestion. It includes the following organs. 1. Mouth. 2. Pharynx. 3. Esophagus. 4. Stomach. 5. Small intestine including the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. 6. Large intestine including the cecum, colon, rectum, and anal canal. Organs that are associated with the alimentary canal, but not part of it, include 1. Salivary glands. 2. Liver. 3. Gallbladder. 4. Pancreas. Digestion in the mouth. The process of digestion in the mouth, also known as oral digestion, begins with the mechanical breakdown of food by the teeth through chewing and grinding. The salivary glands located in the mouth also secrete saliva, which contains the digestive enzyme amylase that begins the chemical breakdown of carbohydrates into simpler sugars. As food is being mixed with saliva and broken down by the teeth, it forms a ball-like mass called a bolus, which is then pushed to the back of the mouth by the tongue and enters the pharynx, a conical cavity that connects the mouth to the esophagus. The pharynx initiate the involuntary swallowing reflex, which forces the food bolus down into the esophagus towards the stomach through rhythmic contractions called peristalsis. Dentition. Dentition refers to the arrangement, type, and number of teeth within an animal species. In humans, there are two sets of teeth: primary teeth, also known as baby teeth, and permanent teeth. The human adult dentition includes 32 teeth, with each side of the upper and lower jaw containing 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, and 3 molars. The primary dentition includes 20 teeth, with each side of the upper and lower jaw containing 2 incisors, 1 canine, and 2 molars. Different animals have different types and numbers of teeth suited to their dietary needs. For example, carnivorous animals have sharp, pointed teeth called canines for tearing meat, while herbivorous animals have broad, flat molars for grinding plant matter. Fig. Lower jaw showing human dentition. Teeth. Teeth can be classified into 2 types, homodont and heterodont teeth. Homodont teeth refer to teeth that are all identical in shape and size. They are usually found in fish and reptiles and used for grasping and holding onto food. Homodont teeth are unspecialized and not adapted to any specific type of diet. In contrast, heterodont teeth are teeth that are specialized and adapted to different functions in the mouth, such as incisors, canines, premolars, and molars, which are found in most mammals, including humans. These different tooth types are adapted to various functions such as cutting, tearing, grinding, or crushing food to aid in digestion. Types of heterodont teeth. There are 4 types of heterodont teeth found in mammalian dentition: incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. 1. Incisors. These are the front teeth that are used for biting and cutting food. Incisors have a thin, sharp edge that makes them useful for breaking apart food into smaller pieces. Fig. Incisor teeth. 2. Canines. These teeth are located next to the incisors and are pointed and sharp. They are used for tearing and shredding food, and also for defense in some animals. Fig. Canine tooth. 3. Premolars. Premolars are located between the canines and molars and have flat surfaces with cusps, or projections. They are used for crushing and grinding food. Fig. Premolar tooth. 4. Molars. Molars are located at the back of the mouth and are the largest and strongest teeth in the human dentition. They have large, flat surfaces and are used for chewing, grinding, and crushing food before it is swallowed. Fig. Molar tooth. Practical activity 6. To examine the dentition of skulls of goat, dog, cow and man. Methodology for examining the dentition of skulls of goat, dog, cow, and man. Methodology. 1. Obtain the skulls of the goat, dog, cow, and man. 2. Clean the skulls to remove any soft tissue or debris. You may use a brush, hydrogen peroxide or other cleaning agents depending on the state of the skulls. 3. Examine the skulls for the presence of incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. 4. Count the number of teeth in each section of the skull, upper jaw, lower jaw. 5. Identify any differences in the size, shape, and arrangement of the teeth between the species. 6. Note any specific adaptations of the teeth to the diet of the animal. For example, herbivore skulls will have larger premolars and molars for grinding, while carnivore skulls have sharper canines for tearing meat. 7. Record any other observations about the skulls, such as the size and shape of the skull as a whole, the shape of the jaw, and the position of the teeth in the jaws. 8. Compare and contrast these observations across the different species studied. 9. Draw a conclusion and write a report summarizing your findings. Note: proper safety procedures must be followed when handling skulls. Use gloves, face masks and other protective equipment as needed. Structure of a mammalian tooth. The structure of a mammalian tooth consists of 4 main parts. 1. Enamel. The outermost layer of the tooth is the enamel. It is the hardest and most mineralized tissue in the body, and it protects the inner layers of the tooth from damage. 2. Dentin. The dentin is a layer of hard, dense tissue that lies beneath the enamel. It is the bulk of the tooth, and it gives the tooth its shape and structure. 3. Pulp. The pulp is the soft, living tissue that is found in the center of the tooth. It contains blood vessels, nerves, and connective tissue and provides nutrients to the tooth. 4. Cementum. The cementum is a layer of hard, bony tissue that covers the root of the tooth. It anchors the tooth to the jawbone and helps to support it. Together, these 4 layers form the basic structure of a mammalian tooth. The outer enamel layer protects the dentin, while the pulp provides nourishment and sensory function to the tooth. The cementum helps to stabilize the tooth within the jawbone. The anatomy and composition of each of these layers can vary depending on the type and function of the tooth, as well as the species of mammal. Longitudinal section of a human. A. Canine. B. Molar tooth. A. Canine tooth. A longitudinal section of a human canine tooth would show the following structures. 1. Enamel, the outermost layer that covers the crown of the tooth, providing protection and strength. 2. Dentin, the bulk of the tooth, a hard, yellowish tissue that forms the majority of the crown and root. 3. Pulp, the innermost part of the tooth, a soft tissue containing blood vessels and nerves. 4. Root canal, a canal within the tooth that allows blood vessels and nerves to enter and exit the pulp chamber. 5. Cementum, the layer of hard tissue that covers the root of the tooth, providing protection and anchoring the tooth to the jawbone. B. Molar tooth. A longitudinal section of a human molar tooth would show the following structures. 1. Enamel, the outermost layer that covers the crown of the tooth, providing protection and strength. 2. Dentin, the bulk of the tooth, a hard, yellowish tissue that forms the majority of the crown and root. 3. Pulp, the innermost part of the tooth, a soft tissue containing blood vessels and nerves. 4. Root canal, a canal within the tooth that allows blood vessels and nerves to enter and exit the pulp chamber. 5. Cementum, the layer of hard tissue that covers the root of the tooth, providing protection and anchoring the tooth to the jawbone. 6. Crown, the top part of the tooth that is visible in the mouth. 7. Root, the lower part of the tooth that is embedded in the jawbone. 8. Pulp chamber, the inner cavity within the tooth that contains the pulp. 9. Furcation, the point where the tooth divides into 2 or more roots. 10. Periodontal ligament, the tissue that connects the cementum covering the root to the bone of the jaw. Dental formulae. 1. Omnivores. Dental formulae is a notation used to describe the number and arrangement of each type of tooth in the mouth. The dental formula for omnivores, who consume both plant and animal foods, is 2. I2/2C1/1 page 2/2 meters 3/3 equals 40. This formula represents the number of teeth on one half of the upper and lower jaw. The numbers inside the parentheses indicate the number of each type of tooth on one side, beginning with the incisors, followed by the canines, premolars, and molars. The upper and lower rows of teeth are counted separately, hence the multiplication by 2. Therefore, the dental formula for omnivores is as follows. 2 incisors, I, on each side, both in the upper and lower jaw, 2 by 2 equals 4. 1 canine, C, on each side, both in the upper and lower jaw, 2 times 1 equals 2. 2 premolars, P, on each side, both in the upper and lower jaw, 2 by 2 equals 4. 3 molars, M, on each side, both in the upper and lower jaw, 2 times 3 equals 6. Adding all the teeth on one side, the formula simplifies to 2, 1, 2, 3. Multiplying by 2 to account for both sides of the mouth, the dental formula for omnivores is 2, 1/1, 0/0, 2/2, 3/3, equals 40. Dental formulae of herbivores. Dental formulae is a notation used to describe the number and arrangement of each type of tooth in the mouth. Among animals, the type and number of teeth can vary based on their diet. For herbivores, who consume plant-based foods, the dental formula is 2. I0/3C0/1 page 3/3 meters 3/3 equals 32. This formula represents the number of teeth on one half of the upper and lower jaw. The numbers inside the parentheses indicate the number of each type of tooth on one side, beginning with the incisors, followed by the canines, premolars, and molars. The upper and lower rows of teeth are counted separately, hence the multiplication by 2. Therefore, the dental formula for herbivores is as follows. 0 incisors, I, on each side in the upper jaw, while 3 incisors present on each side of the lower jaw, 2 times 3 equals 6. 0 canines, C, on each side, in both the upper and lower jaw. 3 premolars, P, on each side, both in the upper and lower jaw, 2 times 3 equals 6. 3 molars, M, on each side, both in the upper and lower jaw, 2 times 3 equals 6. Adding up all the teeth on one side, the formula simplifies to 0, 0, 3, 3. Multiplying by 2 to account for both sides of the mouth, the dental formula for herbivores is 2, 0/3, 0/1, 3/3, 3/3, equals 32. Dental formulae of carnivores. Dental formulae is a notation used to describe the number and arrangement of each type of tooth in the mouth. Among animals, the type and number of teeth can vary based on their diet. For carnivores, who consume primarily meat, the dental formula is 2, I3/3C1/1 page 3/2 meters 1/1, equals 42. This formula represents the number of teeth on one half of the upper and lower jaw. The numbers inside the parentheses indicate the number of each type of tooth on one side, beginning with the incisors, followed by the canines, premolars, and molars. The upper and lower rows of teeth are counted separately, hence the multiplication by 2. Therefore, the dental formula for carnivores is as follows. 3 incisors, I, on each side, both in the upper and lower jaw, 2 times 3 equals 6. 1 canine, C, on each side, both in the upper and lower jaw, 2 times 1 equals 2. 3 premolars, P, on each side in the upper jaw and 2 premolars on each side in the lower jaw, 2 times 3 equals 6, 2 by 2 equals 4. 1 molar, M, on each side in the upper and lower jaw, 2 times 1 equals 2. Adding all the teeth on one side, the formula simplifies to 3, 1, 3, 1. Multiplying by 2 to account for both sides of the mouth, the dental formula for carnivores is 2, 3/3, 1/1, 3/2, 1/1, equals 42. Saliva. Saliva is a clear, watery fluid secreted by the salivary glands in the mouth. It plays an important role in the process of digestion, as well as in maintaining oral health. Some key facts regarding saliva are: saliva is made up of water, electrolytes, mucus, enzymes, such as amylase, and other proteins. It helps to moisten and lubricate food, which aids in swallowing and makes it easier to taste food. Saliva contains enzymes that play a crucial role in breaking down carbohydrates, such as starch, into simpler sugars, during the process of digestion in the mouth. Saliva also has antimicrobial properties that help to protect the mouth from harmful bacteria and prevents infections. The production of saliva is regulated by the autonomic nervous system and can be affected by factors such as stress, medications, and certain medical conditions. Different activities such as smelling food, thinking about food, or even the mere sight of food can stimulate the production of saliva. Salivary glands. Salivary glands are a group of exocrine glands located in the mouth that secrete saliva into the oral cavity, which is important for lubricating the mouth, aiding in swallowing, digesting food, and maintaining oral health. Some key facts regarding salivary glands are: there are 3 major pairs of salivary glands, parotid glands, submandibular glands, and sublingual glands, that secrete most of the saliva produced in the mouth. The parotid glands are the largest salivary glands and are located near the cheeks, in front of and below the ears, which secrete serous fluid that contains enzymes. The submandibular glands are located beneath the lower jaw and produce a mixture of mucus and serous fluid. The sublingual glands are located beneath the tongue and produce predominantly mucus saliva. There are also other smaller, minor salivary glands that are located throughout the mouth, such as the labial and buccal glands, that contribute to saliva production. The secretion of saliva is controlled by both the autonomic nervous system and the endocrine system, and can be modulated by factors such as exercise, stress, smell and taste of food, and medications. Certain medical conditions, such as Sjogren's syndrome and salivary gland stones, can affect the function of salivary glands and lead to dry mouth or damage to the glands. Tongue. The tongue plays several important roles in the digestive process, including 1. Mechanical processing. The tongue physically breaks down food into smaller particles through chewing and grinding, increasing the surface area for enzymes to work on during digestion. 2. Tasting. The tongue contains taste buds that can detect different flavors, including sweet, sour, salty, bitter and umami, which helps identify various foods and helps stimulate digestive secretions. 3. Initiating swallowing. The tongue helps to push food to the back of the mouth, triggering the swallowing reflex that moves food from the mouth to the esophagus and into the stomach. 4. Producing saliva. The tongue also helps to mix food with saliva, which contains enzymes that break down starches, enabling easy digestion. 5. Lubrication. The tongue assists in the lubrication of food with saliva to ease the passage of food through the esophagus. 6. Digestive secretions. The tongue secretes lingual lipase and lysozyme enzymes, which help to further digest food in the mouth before entering the stomach. In summary, the tongue plays a crucial role in the early stages of digestion, by processing food, detecting taste, producing saliva, and initiating swallowing. Digestion in the stomach. The stomach is a muscular organ that performs mechanical and chemical digestion of food, primarily protein. When food enters the stomach, several processes begin to break it down. 1. Mechanical digestion. The stomach muscles churn and mix the food with gastric juice, creating a semi-liquid mixture called chyme. This process helps to further break down large food particles into smaller, more digestible pieces. 2. Chemical digestion. The stomach secretes gastric juice, which contains hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes such as pepsin. The hydrochloric acid helps to denature proteins so that they can be easily broken down by pepsin, which cleaves protein into smaller peptides. Hydrochloric acid, HCl. Hydrochloric acid HCl is a strong, corrosive acid that is produced by the parietal cells in the stomach lining. Its main function is to help with digestion by breaking down proteins and activating certain digestive enzymes. HCl is secreted into the stomach as part of gastric juice and has several important functions. 1. Denaturation of proteins. HCl helps to denature proteins, which makes them more accessible to digestive enzymes, particularly pepsin, to further cleave them into smaller peptides and amino acids. 2. Activation of enzymes. HCl helps to activate certain digestive enzymes, particularly pepsinogen, which is converted to pepsin under the acidic conditions of the stomach, thus creating a positive feedback loop that accelerates protein degradation. 3. Germicidal effect. HCl has a strong bactericidal effect on ingested pathogens that may be present in food, and also neutralizes ingested pathogens before they can cause disease. 4. Acidic environment. HCl helps to create an acidic environment in the stomach that promotes the absorption of certain nutrients, such as iron and calcium. In summary, HCl plays a critical role in the digestive process by denaturing proteins, activating digestive enzymes, and providing a germicidal effect, all of which aid in breaking down food into smaller, more digestible pieces. B. Pepsin. Pepsin is a digestive enzyme that is produced and secreted by the chief cells in the stomach lining as an inactive zymogen precursor called pepsinogen. Once in the stomach, pepsinogen is activated by the acidic conditions created by hydrochloric acid HCl, which converts it into pepsin, an active enzyme that helps break down proteins. Pepsin works by breaking down large protein molecules into smaller peptides, which can then be further broken down by other digestive enzymes in the small intestine. It does this by cleaving peptide bonds between specific amino acids in the protein chains to produce shorter peptides. Pepsin is important for protein digestion, as it is able to work in the highly acidic environment of the stomach pH of 1.5 to 2.5, where other enzymes would be denatured. In addition, pepsin cleaves proteins at specific sites, generating peptides that have different functions and activities in the body. Overall, pepsin plays a critical role in the digestive process by breaking down proteins into smaller, more digestible pieces that can be further processed and absorbed in the small intestine. See renin. Renin, also known as chymosin, is an enzyme that plays an important role in the digestion of milk protein by converting soluble caseinogen into insoluble casein. Renin is primarily produced in the stomachs of young mammals, including humans, to aid in the digestion of milk. When milk is consumed, renin is released into the stomach where it acts on caseinogen, a major protein in milk, causing it to undergo coagulation and form a curd. The curd then passes through the digestive tract more slowly, allowing more time for the protein to be broken down and absorbed. Renin is particularly important in newborn mammals as their digestive systems are not yet fully developed, and they need to be able to digest milk efficiently to obtain the nutrients they need for growth and development. In addition to its role in digestion, rennin is also used in the production of cheese and other dairy products. In cheese production, rennin is added to milk to cause coagulation of the casein, which is then separated from the liquid whey to form curds that are used in the cheese-making process. D. Mucus. Mucus in the digestive system helps to protect and lubricate the lining of the stomach and intestines, allowing food to move along smoothly. The mucus layer also helps to defend against the acidic digestive enzymes and bile salts that can damage the lining of the gut. Mucus in the stomach and small intestine is produced by goblet cells that are scattered throughout the lining of these organs. The mucus layer covering the intestinal lining contains a high concentration of the protective immune protein immunoglobulin A, which helps to defend against harmful bacteria or toxins that may be present in the gut. In addition to protection, mucus also plays a role in the absorption of nutrients in the gut. The mucus layer contains enzymes that help to break down carbohydrates and proteins, making them easier to absorb. However, excessive mucus production in the digestive system, as occurs in some gastrointestinal disorders like inflammatory bowel disease (IBD), can interfere with normal digestive processes, resulting in symptoms such as abdominal pain, diarrhea, and malabsorption of nutrients. 3. Protection. The stomach also secretes mucus, which provides a protective barrier that helps to prevent the stomach from digesting itself by neutralizing the acid and protecting the stomach lining from the corrosive effects of the acid and enzymes. 4. Regulation. The stomach regulates the release of chyme into the small intestine to ensure a steady flow of partially digested food. Overall, the digestive process in the stomach is a vital step in breaking down food into smaller particles that can be further digested and absorbed in the small intestine. Digestion in the duodenum. The duodenum is the first part of the small intestine, which receives partially digested food from the stomach, as well as secretions from the liver and pancreas. The digestion of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins continues in the duodenum with the help of enzymes. Carbohydrates. The partially digested carbohydrates that arrive in the duodenum are further broken down into simpler sugars by the action of enzymes such as amylase from the pancreas, and maltase, sucrase, and lactase, from the intestinal wall. These enzymes break down the disaccharide sugars, maltose, sucrose, and lactose, into monosaccharides glucose, fructose, and galactose, which can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Fats, bile, produced in the liver and stored in the gallbladder, is released into the duodenum in response to the arrival of partly digested fats. Bile emulsifies fats and breaks them down into smaller droplets, making it easier for enzymes called lipases, produced by the pancreas, to break down the fats into fatty acids and glycerol, which can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Proteins. Proteins are broken down into smaller polypeptides by the action of enzymes such as trypsin, chymotrypsin, and peptidases, from the pancreas, which hydrolyze peptide bonds between amino acids. The smaller peptides are further broken down into single amino acids by other peptidases from the brush border of the small intestine. These amino acids can be taken up by intestinal cells and transported into the bloodstream. The digestion in the duodenum is critical for the absorption of nutrients that are essential for our body's energy and repair needs. Liver and digestion. The liver plays important roles in digestion, including the production of bile, processing of nutrients, and storage of energy. Bile production. The liver produces bile, a greenish-yellow fluid that contains bile acids, cholesterol, and waste products. Bile acids emulsify and break down fats, making them easier to digest and absorb. Bile is stored in the gallbladder until it's needed to aid digestion in the duodenum. Processing of nutrients. The liver processes nutrients that are absorbed from the small intestine. For example, carbohydrates are converted into glucose, which can be stored in the liver as glycogen or released into the bloodstream for energy. Proteins are broken down into amino acids, which can be used to synthesize new proteins or converted into energy. Fats and cholesterol are processed by the liver and transported to other parts of the body as needed. Storage of energy. The liver stores glycogen, a complex carbohydrate that is broken down into glucose when energy is needed. The liver can also convert fatty acids into ketones, which can be used by the body as an alternative source of energy. The liver stores vitamins, minerals and iron which are needed for various aspects of human health. In addition to its digestive functions, the liver also has roles in detoxification, the immune system and regulation of various hormones in the body. The role of pancreas in digestion. The pancreas is a gland located behind the stomach and it has a crucial role to play in digestion. It produces and secretes digestive enzymes and hormones that help in the breakdown and absorption of nutrients from the food we eat. The enzymes produced by the pancreas include 1. Pancreatic amylase. This enzyme helps in the digestion of carbohydrates into simple sugars. 2. Pancreatic lipase. This enzyme helps in the digestion of fats into fatty acids and glycerol. 3. Proteases. These enzymes help in the breakdown of proteins into smaller peptides and amino acids. 4. Nucleases. These enzymes help in the digestion of nucleic acids present in food. These enzymes are released into the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, in response to the arrival of partially digested food from the stomach. The pancreas also secretes hormones that regulate blood sugar levels, including insulin and glucagon. Insulin helps in the uptake of glucose from the bloodstream into cells for energy, while glucagon signals the liver to release stored glucose as needed. In case of issues like pancreatitis, the pancreas may not produce enough digestive enzymes, leading to difficulty in breaking down foods properly, which can cause nutritional deficiencies and other health problems. Digestion in the ileum, small intestine. The ileum is the last and longest part of the small intestine, and it is responsible for the final stages of digestion and nutrient absorption. When food enters the ileum, it has already been digested and broken down into small molecules by the stomach and the earlier parts of the small intestine. In the ileum, these molecules are further broken down and absorbed into the bloodstream. One of the key features of the ileum is its extensive surface area, which is achieved through finger-like projections called villi and microvilli. These projections increase the surface area available for nutrient absorption. Most of the nutrient absorption occurs in the ileum, including 1. Proteins, small peptides and amino acids are absorbed into the bloodstream through the villi of the ileum. 2. Carbohydrates, glucose and other simple sugars are absorbed into the bloodstream through the villi of the ileum. 3. Fats, fatty acids and glycerol are absorbed into the bloodstream via special structures called lacteals. 4. Vitamins and minerals, these are absorbed through the villi of the ileum. In addition to nutrient absorption, the ileum is also responsible for absorption of water and electrolytes, which helps to maintain fluid balance in the body. The remaining undigested material and waste products from the ileum are passed on to the large intestine, where they are further processed and excreted as feces. End products of digestion. The end products of digestion depend on the type of nutrient being digested. Enzymes present in the digestive system break down complex macromolecules into their simpler forms, which can then be absorbed into the bloodstream and utilized by the body for various functions. Here are the end products of digestion for the three main types of nutrients. 1. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are broken down into simple sugars like glucose, fructose, and galactose. These sugars are absorbed into the bloodstream and transported to the liver to be used for energy production or glycogen storage. 2. Proteins. Proteins are broken down into amino acids. These amino acids are absorbed into the bloodstream and used to build new proteins in the body, as well as for energy production. 3. Fats. Fats are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. These fatty acids are absorbed into the lymphatic system and transported to various parts of the body where they are used for energy production, stored in adipose tissue for later use, or used as building blocks for other lipids. Other nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and water are also absorbed during digestion and used for various bodily functions. Overall, the end products of digestion play a crucial role in providing the body with the energy and nutrients it needs to function properly. Absorption. Absorption is the process by which nutrients, water, and other substances are taken up from the digestive system into the bloodstream or lymphatic system for transportation around the body. Absorption begins in the small intestine, where the majority of the nutrients from the food we eat are absorbed into the body. The small intestine is lined with thousands of tiny finger-like projections called villi and microvilli, which increase the surface area of the intestinal lining and allow for more efficient absorption of nutrients. Nutrients are absorbed through three main mechanisms. 1. Passive diffusion. Some nutrients like water, small lipids, and some ions can simply diffuse through the intestinal lining into the bloodstream. 2. Active transport. Some nutrients require specialized transporters to move across the intestinal lining into the bloodstream. This process requires energy and is selective, meaning that only certain nutrients can be transported. 3. Facilitated diffusion. Some nutrients require special transport proteins to move across the intestinal lining into the bloodstream. Unlike active transport, facilitated diffusion does not require energy and is less selective. Once absorbed, nutrients are transported through the bloodstream or lymphatic system to the liver and then to other parts of the body where they are used for energy production, tissue repair, and other vital functions. Those that are not needed or cannot be stored are excreted from the body through the kidneys or in feces. Overall, absorption plays a crucial role in providing the body with the nutrients it needs to function properly, and any disruptions to this process can lead to nutrient deficiencies and other health issues. How absorption takes place. 1. Amino acids and glucose. Amino acids and glucose are both absorbed through active transport in the small intestine. Here's how absorption takes place for each nutrient. 1. Amino acids. Amino acids are transported across the intestinal lining by specialized transport proteins called amino acid transporters. This process requires energy in the form of ATP adenosine triphosphate. Different amino acid transporters are specific for different types of amino acids and can transport multiple amino acids at the same time. Once transported across the intestinal lining, amino acids enter the bloodstream and are transported to the liver, where they can be used for protein synthesis, energy production, or other functions. 2. Glucose. Glucose is transported across the intestinal lining by specialized proteins called glucose transporters. The primary glucose transporter in the small intestine is called SGLT1, sodium glucose cotransporter 1. SGLT1 transports glucose into the intestinal cell together with sodium ions, and then glucose is transported out of the intestinal cell and into the bloodstream using a separate transporter called GLUT2, glucose transporter 2. The transport of glucose and sodium together is an example of secondary active transport, which means that it requires energy in the form of the sodium gradient created by the sodium-potassium pump. Once transported across the intestinal lining, glucose enters the bloodstream and is transported to various organs and tissues, where it is used for energy production. Overall, the active transport of amino acids and glucose across the intestinal lining ensures that these important nutrients are efficiently absorbed and utilized by the body. 2. Fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acids and glycerol are both absorbed through a process known as micelle-mediated diffusion in the small intestine. Here's how absorption takes place for each nutrient. 1. Fatty acids. Fatty acids are large and insoluble in water, making it difficult for them to be transported through the watery environment of the small intestine. To overcome this issue, bile salts released by the liver emulsify fats and break them down into smaller droplets called micelles. The fatty acids within the micelles diffuse across the intestinal lining through the process of simple diffusion. Once inside the intestinal cells, the fatty acids are reassembled into triglycerides and packaged into chylomicrons, which are lipoprotein particles that can travel through the watery bloodstream. The chylomicrons are transported into the lymphatic system and eventually enter the bloodstream, where they deliver the fatty acids to various organs and tissues for use as fuel. 2. Glycerol. Glycerol is also released from dietary fats as they are broken down by bile salts and pancreatic lipase. Glycerol is absorbed through facilitated diffusion, which means that it requires specific transport proteins called GLUT transporters. Once inside the intestinal cells, glycerol is converted into glucose or used for energy production. The glucose or energy produced from glycerol can then be used by various organs and tissues throughout the body. Overall, the micelle-mediated diffusion process enables fatty acids and glycerol to be absorbed and utilized effectively by the body. Fig. A longitudinal section of a villus. A longitudinal section of a villus. A longitudinal section of a villus refers to a slice of tissue that shows the internal structures of a villus, which is a finger-like projection that lines the small intestine. Villi play a crucial role in nutrient absorption from digested food. When viewed in a longitudinal section, a villus appears as a cylinder with an outer layer of columnar cells, which are specialized for absorption, and a central core of blood vessels and lymphatics. The columnar cells lining the villus are covered with microvilli, which further increase the surface area for absorption. The blood vessels and lymphatics in the central core of the villus transport absorbed nutrients away from the small intestine to the rest of the body. Overall, the longitudinal section of a villus provides a detailed view of the structures that enable nutrient absorption in the small intestine. Adaptations of the ileum to its functions. The ileum is the final section of the small intestine, responsible for the absorption of nutrients and water from digested food. Here are some of the adaptations of the ileum that are important for its functions. 1. Villi and microvilli. The wall of the ileum is lined with finger-like projections called villi, which increase the surface area of the intestine and enhance nutrient absorption. The villi are covered in small projections called microvilli, which further increase the surface area for absorption. 2. Circular folds. The ileum has numerous circular folds in its wall, which slow down the movement of chyme partially digested food, and allow more time for absorption. 3. Peyer's patches. The ileum contains numerous lymphoid tissues called Peyer's patches, which play an important role in the immune system by producing antibodies to protect against harmful bacteria and toxins. 4. Crypts of Lieberkühn. The ileum has small, gland-like structures called crypts of Lieberkühn, which secrete digestive enzymes and mucus that help to break down foods and protect the intestinal lining. 5. Absorptive cells. The lining of the ileum is composed of absorptive cells, which have microvilli that work to absorb nutrients from digested food. 6. Transport mechanisms. The ileum contains specialized transport mechanisms such as NAD+-dependent glucose transporters, which actively transport glucose and amino acids from the lumen of the intestine into the absorptive cells. Overall, these adaptations help the ileum to absorb nutrients and water effectively, while also providing protection against harmful bacteria and toxins. Assimilation of the end products of digestion. Assimilation of the end products of digestion refers to the process by which nutrients that have been broken down during digestion are absorbed into the body and used for growth, repair, and energy production. Here are some of the steps involved in assimilation. 1. Absorption in the small intestine. The small intestine is the primary site of nutrient absorption. Nutrients such as glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids are absorbed across the intestinal wall and into the bloodstream. 2. Transport to the liver. Once absorbed, nutrients are transported to the liver, where they are either stored, modified, or released back into the bloodstream for circulation to other organs. 3. Distribution to cells. Nutrients are carried by the circulatory system to cells throughout the body, where they are used for various functions such as energy production, growth, repair of tissues, and hormone synthesis. 4. Cellular uptake. Once nutrients reach cells, they are taken up by specific transport mechanisms that allow them to cross the cell membrane and enter the cell for use. 5. Metabolism. Once inside cells, nutrients are metabolized to produce energy or used for other cellular processes such as protein synthesis. 6. Excretion. Any excess nutrients that are not needed by the body are excreted through urine or feces. Overall, assimilation of the end products of digestion is a complex process that involves the coordinated action of multiple organs and systems in the body, ensuring that nutrients are efficiently absorbed, distributed, and used for the body's various metabolic processes. Assimilation of glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol. Glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerol are all end products of digestion that need to be assimilated into the body for various functions. Each of these molecules follows a unique assimilation process, as described below. 1. Glucose assimilation. Glucose is absorbed through the intestinal wall and into the bloodstream, where it is transported to cells throughout the body. Once inside the cell, glucose is converted into energy through cellular respiration in the mitochondria, or it may be used for glycogen synthesis in the liver and muscle tissue. Insulin, a hormone produced by the pancreas, helps to regulate glucose assimilation by instructing cells to take up glucose from the bloodstream. 2. Amino acid assimilation. Amino acids are absorbed through the intestinal wall and into the bloodstream, where they are transported to tissues throughout the body for various functions such as protein synthesis, repairing tissues, and energy production. Amino acids can be used immediately or transported to the liver for conversion into glucose, gluconeogenesis, or ketone bodies, ketogenesis. 3. Fatty acid and glycerol assimilation. Fatty acids and glycerol are absorbed as triglycerides through the intestinal wall, where they are transported via the lymphatic system to adipose tissue, muscle tissue, or the liver. Specialized transporters called fatty acid transport proteins help to bring fatty acids into cells, where they are broken down by enzymes in the mitochondria for energy production. Glycerol, on the other hand, is converted into glucose by the liver through gluconeogenesis. Overall, assimilation of glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerol follows a complex process involving multiple organs and systems in the body, ensuring that each molecule is used for the body's various metabolic processes. The cecum and appendix. The cecum is a pouch located at the beginning of the large intestine, connecting to the bottom of the ileum. It has a blind sac-like structure, with a finger-like projection called the appendix. The appendix is a thin, worm-like tube that extends from the cecum, and it has no significant digestive function in humans. Although the appendix is not essential for digestion, it does play a role in the immune system. The wall of the appendix contains a large amount of lymphatic tissue, which helps to detect and fight off infections that may occur in the digestive system. In addition, some researchers believe the appendix may serve as a safe house for beneficial gut bacteria, allowing them to repopulate the digestive system following an illness or antibiotic treatment. There are various medical conditions associated with the cecum and appendix. These include appendicitis, a condition in which the appendix becomes inflamed and can cause severe abdominal pain, as well as other complications such as abscesses, peritonitis, and sepsis. Treatment for appendicitis usually involves surgical removal of the appendix, which is typically done by laparoscopic or open surgery. In addition, some conditions such as colon cancer may also affect the cecum and require different treatment options depending on the stage of the cancer. Colon. The colon, also known as the large intestine, is the final segment of the digestive system in humans. It is a muscular tube that measures approximately 5 to 6 feet in length and runs from the cecum, at the end of the small intestine, to the anus. The main function of the colon is to absorb water and electrolytes from the indigestible food matter, which helps to thicken and form solid feces before elimination. The colon also plays a role in the storage and elimination of fecal matter from the body. The colon is divided into several regions, including the ascending colon, which goes up the right side of the abdomen, the transverse colon, which runs across the abdomen, the descending colon, which goes down the left side of the abdomen, and the sigmoid colon, which connects to the rectum. The colon is also home to a large amount of bacteria, known as the gut microbiome, which plays an important role in digestion and immunity. Certain medical conditions can affect the colon, including inflammatory bowel disease, such as Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, diverticulitis, which involves inflammation or infection of small pockets in the colon wall, and colorectal cancer. Treatments for colon conditions vary depending on the specific diagnosis and may include medication, dietary changes, colonoscopy, surgery, and other treatments. Rectum. The rectum is the final part of the large intestine, connecting the sigmoid colon to the anus. It is a muscular tube that is about 4 to 6 inches in length and serves as a temporary storage place for fecal matter before it is eliminated from the body. The rectum has several important functions, including the absorption of water and the contraction of muscles that help move fecal matter towards the anus. Nerves in the rectum also help to stimulate the urge to have a bowel movement. Certain medical conditions can affect the rectum, including rectal prolapse when the rectal wall stretches and protrudes out of the anus, rectal cancer, and hemorrhoids, engorged veins in the rectum or anus. Treatments for rectal conditions vary depending on the specific diagnosis and may include medications, lifestyle changes, surgery, and other treatments.